Jake here for American Trucks, and in this video we're taking a look at the HD replacement front bumper fitting 2015 to 2017 F-150s, excluding the Raptor. If a bull bar or a regular grill guard isn't quite enough for your truck, then you're gonna like this setup we have here. It goes beyond just a new bumper or even a grill guard and gives you the best of both worlds in one heavy-duty package that will work hard and make a big statement. Now, unlike a lot of other bumpers or even grill guards, this setup takes the best of both worlds and combines them into one, frankly, gigantic statement piece for the front end of your truck. Now, the HD in the name is no mistake either. You get a traditional type of grill guard up top here with the mesh covering the factory grill and crossbars in front of that for a lot of added protection. Plus, you've got these big uprights and the headlight covers too, so everything up top is protected. But underneath that is this big old diamond plate style bumper that integrates with this crossbeam on the grill guard. Now, this thing is massive and it covers the entirety of the front end of your truck. So safe to say, this is gonna give your truck a lot of additional front end protection to go along with the aggressive good looks. But there's a bit more going on here than meets the eye. Now, this has provisions for your fog lights if your truck came so equipped, and it's even got an accessory port if you've got active cruise control, you can have that ready to go too. Now, you can also keep your original tow hooks in place too, so you don't have to modify the bumper to get those on, or if you want to add some additional recovery points, you've got the option to do that as well. And in case you need to do some additional hauling, pulling, or pushing, or whatever, you might have also noticed there is a receiver for a ball mount right here in the front as well. So you'll be able to put additional racks or maybe even pull from the front of the truck easily. And there's also this removable panel right here in the center of the front grille to mount your forward-facing camera if your truck came equipped with one from the factory. So it'll retain all of your factory equipment and make sure that everything functions as it was intended. Construction here is all stainless steel, and it has been E-coated and then powder-coated black for a clean look and additional protection against rust and corrosion. This is a pretty tough setup, and it should be able to handle whatever you can throw at it, and since everything is integrated pretty well, and this is all one piece, this is gonna look good and stay tough for a long time. Pricing comes in at about $1,700, making it a bit more on the expensive side as compared to other bumpers or grill guards. But as far as setups that include both, this is a good value. So if you want that additional protection and you like the look of this thing, this is gonna be about what you should expect to spend to get something like this. Installation is going to get a 2 out of 3 on our difficulty meter, and you should plan on this job taking you about 2 hours to complete. Now, everything you need is included in the box, so this is going to be a totally bolt-on install, so you don't have to modify anything on your truck. However, this is all one large piece, so you should definitely plan on asking a friend or two to help you get this mounted up. It's going to be much safer and easier that way than trying to do it with a floor jack and jack stands, because these things are a little bit tricky to get into place if you don't have the correct balance. But in order to show you how to do that now, let's head on out to the install bay.
First install, you'll need a 3/8 impact, 2 3/8 ratchets, a Phillips head screwdriver, a 3/8 to 1/2 adapter, a 3/8 extension, a 21, a 19, an 18, a 13, a 10, and an 8mm socket, a trim removal tool, a 19, a 13, and a 10mm wrench.
All right, today we're gonna be installing a bumper on our F-150, but first we're gonna watch a video how to install a stock one, and we'll come back here to install the new one.
Now, before we touch any of the hardware, the first thing we're gonna do is unplug some of our electronics. You can see the back of the driver's side fog light right here, and we're just gonna press down on that tab at the top, and that should pop right out like so. We're gonna do the same thing on the other side, and then we can get started with the hardware. The first thing we're gonna wanna remove is on the outside of each frame rail. It's an 18mm nut. You're gonna need a small extension to get to this one. Now, the last couple nuts we need to get to, they're underneath this big plastic piece right here. I guess this would be where your lower grille would be, but it's really closed off. All we're gonna do is pry that away with the trim panel removal tool. Now you can see what I'm talking about a little bit better. 2 of these on either side, 21mm socket. Now with all that out of the way, you should just be able to pull that right away from the truck.
All right, before we get started on the new bumper, what we need to do is we need to swap over our fog lights, or at least take them out of our factory bumper. So there are 4 bolts holding the bracket in for the fog light. They're 8mm, and we're gonna take them out. All right, now we got our fog light out. What we're gonna do is take our bulb out. Just set that aside for right now. And then we're also gonna take out our adjustment screw. It's a Phillips head screw. Just back that out with the spring. All right, just set that aside because you will reuse that. All right, now our fog light is held in by 2 plastic clamps right here. You're just gonna pry apart with your trim tool. Pop one side through at a time. We can put our bulb back in. And for right now, so we don't lose it, just hand thread our adjustment screw back in. All right, you can do the same thing for the other side. All right, what we're gonna do now is we're gonna mount our fog lights onto our new bumper. We're gonna take our adjustment screw out with our Phillips head screwdriver. Set that aside right now. All right, we're gonna grab our bracket. You will see there's side dependent brackets. You'll see because there's a angle here that will match up with our adjuster. It's gonna slide over our 2 ends, be able to pivot. All right, and we will put our spring through and our adjuster screw back in. All right, just need to get started for now. All right, now on the bottom of our bracket, we are going to attach this U-bracket here that has nut certs on it. So we're going to grab 2 M6 bolts. We're going to start with a lock washer and then a flat washer and thread them into each end. All right, you just grab your ratchet with a 10mm socket and tighten them down. All right, and you're gonna take your Phillips head screwdriver and just adjust it so that the light sits even in the bracket. You can get it close and we can adjust it more when it's mounted in the bumper. All right, now we're gonna grab our mounting hardware for our bracket. It's gonna be an M8 hex bolt. I'm gonna grab that flat washer and stick that through the bottom of the bracket. It's gonna go through the bottom of the bracket, come out the top. Gonna do another flat washer and the nut. All right, we're gonna grab our ratchet with a 13mm socket, 13mm wrench, and just snug it up so we can adjust it when it's slightly tight. All right, now you'll be able to move it around just so you can get it into place and then tighten it down. And then here you'll be able to adjust your light a little bit more easily so you can get it centered. All right, now you just repeat the same thing for the other fog light. All right, now we can, right here is where you would mount your ACC if you have it. We do not have it on our vehicle, so we're gonna mount our screen in place. So with that, we're gonna grab our M6 bolt, lock washer, flat washer, slide it through, put a flat washer and a nut on the inside. All right, do the same thing on the other side. All right, we'll grab our ratchet with our 10mm socket and a 10mm wrench and tighten them down. All right, so now we're going to put our brackets on that hold our bumper up. It's going to hook under the frame like so. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab our big bolt that's gonna go through the back, put our flat washer on, puts this up in place. Just get it held up there temporarily with our bolt so we can install our other bolts. All right, so on the inside of the frame, there's gonna be a nut plate. There's 2 holes in the bottom of this that you will put bolts through. So we're gonna grab our bolts, our lock washer, flat washer. I'm gonna start them through the nut plate. All right, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our factory bolt plate out because it's gonna mount on the outside. We'll do that. We're gonna put our bracket over top and put our bolt plate through the front. You can hand tighten the factory 21mm bolts on the back. All right, and then through these 2 bolts, we're gonna grab our bolts, flat washer, put it up through the bottom, put the flat washer on the top, and then our nut. Do the same thing on the back. All right, we're gonna come around to our back side. We can leave our bolt in there, but we have 2 spacers. They're gonna go in between the bracket and the frame on either side. And then we're gonna take our flat washer and our nut, thread them on. All right, now we can go through and tighten everything. All right, we're gonna start on the bottom here so that it sucks the bracket up. Just grab our impact and our 18mm socket. All right, now we're gonna push our plate flush back here and we're gonna grab a 19mm wrench, hold the nut side, 18mm socket on the bolt side, tighten these 2 down. All right, so now we're gonna tighten our bolt down. We're gonna grab our 19mm wrench and our 18mm socket on our impact. All right, and then lastly, we just need to tighten our 2 21mm nuts on the back side. All right, now you can repeat the same thing for the other side. All right, now that we got our brackets in place, what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab a friend, maybe a couple friends or a cart as we have to help just move it into place. So we're gonna lift it up over the brackets and set it up over so we can get our bolts installed. All right, now that we have our friend holding it up, we're gonna install our 3 bolts on each side. We're gonna grab a bolt flat washer. And on the other side, grab another flat washer, and then put your nut. All right, and then the last one. Just up at the top. All right, so now we got all of our bolts in place. What we're gonna do is we're gonna tighten them down. So we have a 19mm nut, an 18mm head, and grab our ratchet and wrench and tighten them down. All right, now we have our top bolt, which is about right here. So what we're gonna do is we have our ratchet with our 18 on the head side. We're gonna grab another ratchet with an extension and a 19, just because it is not able to be reached with a wrench. All right, now you just do the same thing for the other side. All right, now we're gonna come to our factory hunters for our fog light. Just plug our fog light back in. You can do the same thing for the other fog light.
That's going to wrap it up here for our review and install of the HD replacement front bumper fitting 2015 to 2017 F-150s, excluding the Raptor. Thank you for watching, and as always, for all things F-150, be sure to keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.